Hi, and welcome back to another episode of You're in Charge Now What? I'm your host, Glenn Pasch. And the goal of this channel, as you know, is to help those of you that find yourself in charge now of a team, a project, or a business build the skills necessary to lead high-performing teams and generate results and the success that you're looking for. So if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, just click the bell down below, subscribe. This way you get notified every week when new videos do come out. And as always, please comment below. I'd love to hear what you like, what you don't like, or if there's a topic I can help you with. So without further ado, let's dive into the newest season of the podcast. And we're going to be talking about stress. I know it's not a popular subject, but every manager that I know, especially new managers, end up at one time or another waking up in the middle of the night stressed out about performance. Are we going to hit the goal that we have set before us, or that my boss has set before me? Or is my team going to win this month? It's not easy, but you have to understand how to deal with this. You have to understand what's causing it for you. Now, for me personally, I've been running my business now for this business for over 10 years, and I still wake up stressed at times. Not stressed in a way that it cripples me where I can't do what I need to do, but there are things or times where it weighs on my mind where I am constantly thinking, I'm second guessing myself to see if what I have in place is going to work, or I worry about what's coming down the road. But for all of us, we have to understand where the causes are coming from so that we then can build a structure or a system to deal with it. I've built my own system, so when I have these feelings or when I sense that this is coming, I know in my brain I'm going down that road, or I do wake up in the middle of the night, I have a system in place that allows me to unpack it, to look at it and see what's real, what's imagined, and more importantly, how to get myself back on track. So that's what I want to talk to you about, sharing this system that you can design for yourself. So we have to dive into a couple of the causes first, and then we can come up with our solution. So let's talk about some of the causes of stress. If I asked you, or if I asked 100 people, if you project out over the next 6 months or over the next year, let's not go too far out, and I said to you, do you view what's going to happen or your plan for this next year? Are you focused on the positive? If I said, where are you going to be or what's going to happen over the next year? Are you thinking positive or are you thinking negative? I would say probably most people are more afraid of what they could potentially lose than what they could win. So if you say to yourself, well, here's all the things that could happen. Well, what happens if they did happen? What about that? But we do have a tendency to be afraid or negativity we don't want to lose, then move out and try more. So part of this stress is caused by this fear of loss. Now, I'm not saying you're projecting out that every single time that you miss your numbers or something goes wrong in business that you're going to lose your job. But there is that steamroll effect of, well, if this happens, then I may lose this and I may lose that. And next thing you know, you're locking yourself up where you can't move forward. So a lot of times that stress is caused by fear or concern about results not being obtained. So if that's your cause, that's one of the causes that's happening. What my system or the way I look at it is saying, is first I have to see if it's real or imagined. I have to break this down to say, is this really happening or am I making this up and projecting what could happen? If it's real, then I start reverse engineering actions. What actions happen to cause these results? Remember what I've said previously. Results are caused by actions, not by emotions, not by thoughts, not by ideas. It's by actions. And if we don't achieve the results that we want, well, we did some actions that got those results that maybe were a little under what we want. Now, those actions, maybe they were the wrong thing we should have been doing. You were still doing something. I don't think people ever not do something. They say, oh, you did the wrong thing. That's still an active process when you're saying, well, you did the wrong thing. So that means I have to go back and see, well, how did I go down that path of those actions? Now, when I'm unpacking actions, I have to ask myself, does my team, do I know exactly what actions I should be doing? That in and of itself causes stress. If every day I have to come in and try to rethink or hope or try new things in order to generate success, well, that's going to be frustrating, and that's going to be causing stress, not just long term, but right in the middle of the day. I start getting in my head and I start overthinking what's going on instead of focusing on the actions and being present, because I know my structure, meaning I know I have to do these 10 things today. And if I do these 10 things today and these 10 things tomorrow, I will lead myself down the path towards the success I want. But if every day I'm gambling, every day I'm changing things, that in and of itself causes this stress of results. So first things first, do we have our structure? Then secondly, do I know how to do it? Have I been trained to do this? And then thirdly, how am I giving myself or getting feedback from my leaders and my managers to allow myself to know, am I on the right path or not? So we have a couple things to unpack there. One is that structure. We talked about it. But in terms of execution, one of the best things I would do to put myself on my path to alleviate that stress and that worry of results is scheduling. Chunk things down during the day so that you can block out time to be able to do those 10 things you need to do. Put it on your schedule. So maybe from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, I need to do this. From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I need to do this. I do that for myself when I'm working on projects or I'm working on, let's say, a presentation for a workshop or a webinar or a conference. I have to reverse engineer back, when is it due, and then block out time on my schedule to dedicate to actually working on this project. If not, the stress that's going to come up because I'm not going to be ready, I'm not going to deliver a great performance, I'm not going to put in the right effort to create something wonderful because I didn't block it out. I just assumed I'd get to it, and then what happens is I rushed it and I wasn't happy with it, and now I'm stressing that I'm not going to get the results I want. So I like spending time with my schedule every single week and chunking. Now, doesn't mean that I do it every day, meaning that if something comes up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock that supersedes me sitting down and working on my presentation, well, I can just take that chunk of time and move it to somewhere else, because things will come up. When you're leading a team, it's not always just a perfect Zen world where I can just come in and no one's going to bother me and nothing's going to go haywire today and everything's going to be organized. That's not the reality of the world. But if I have everything documented and I know tomorrow I'm going to spend an hour or 2 hours working on my presentation, I don't have to think about it today. I can be more focused on what I'm doing now in order to generate my results. The other thing is shorten your feedback cycle. Either getting it from your manager or your team, or even for yourself. I like auditing my day-to-day. Did I do all of the things I expected today? What are the results? Can I see some early results from what I've been doing to keep myself on track? The last thing you want to do for you or for your team is have a whole week go by or a month go by, and then you look at your results and you say, wow, I'm way off track, versus looking at it every day. Some people even break it down mornings and afternoons to really keep themselves on track. That's up to you in terms of chunking down and giving yourself this feedback loop to keep you on your path. That again alleviates that stress, because look at what you're doing. I'm in control of my actions. I'm not just blindly doing things without any feedback, and the next thing you know, I look 3 weeks later and I'm way off course. I know if I'm not on track after 2-3 days or 4 days or 5 days. Why? Because I haven't been able to do what I wanted to do, right? The actions that I wanted to do, I keep seeing that I keep moving them. Now I may have to put my foot down with myself and say, no, you have to do it. Or maybe I have to take some time after work and sit down and do what I need to do. But the key is, by looking at my process, chunking down the times, breaking it down into smaller tasks or pieces, putting it on my schedule allows me then to look at the end of every day and say, did I accomplish this? So then I can feel better about it. Then that alleviates the stress because I'm in control of my actions. Notice, I'm controlling what I can control. I'm not worried about all the things that are coming in from the outside. I will deal with them as a leader. But what I can control is, did I work on my presentation or not? That's in my control, nobody else's. And when I understand that, when I get worried, when I start thinking about the presentation, I know I'm a little behind. That's okay. I've made up for it. I'm going to work this weekend on it and I will get caught up. But that allows me to be in control of everything. The other thing is celebrate your wins. Small little wins. There's so much negativity in the world. There's negativity surrounding you sometimes at your work. There's negativity in your own head about how well you're doing. Because again, in the beginning, what did I say? We're projecting out. Well, what happens if I don't give a great presentation? Well, then that's not going to generate a lot of new opportunities for the business. And then what happens if we're not selling? And then notice all of that doesn't help me versus I'm going to do an awesome presentation and I'm going to get more opportunities and we are going to sell. But in order for me to feel great about that, I have to reverse engineer and put in the time to create that presentation that I'm excited about. And again, this goes with every piece of your work. The more that you have it scheduled out, the more that you have a structure and you're in control of it, then the stress of wondering if I'm going to get things done, the stress of saying, is it going to be good enough, goes away because I have my schedule. I have my feedback loop in shorter time frames where I'm looking at the results. I'm looking at my progress. I'm making adjustments as needed in order for me to hit my goals. So I hope you found that helpful because again, stress is something you're going to deal with when you're in charge. But the more that you can control it for yourself, understand what's real, what's imagined, understand the pacing of it, understand how to schedule and chunk down time, understanding how to check in and give yourself feedback on what's working and what's not working, and don't be so hard on yourself. Celebrate the wins. If you didn't get it done today, that's okay. Just make it a priority to make sure it gets done tomorrow. Be accountable to yourself. Don't just let it go for weeks because then that's where the stress builds up. And more importantly, then you start thinking to yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm not great enough. I'm never good. And that's negative talk in your head and you don't want that as well. So again, I hope you found that valuable. If you did, just click the button down below. Say, great job, Glenn. Share it out. Please make sure you subscribe as well. That means the world to me. And you making it this far in the video, again, wonderful, wonderful. I appreciate it always. And so is the same way I end every single episode. You're in charge, but now I've given you a new tool to help you become more successful. Thanks so much. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode.